What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the latest robot vacuums and mops from ECOVACS called the DEEBOT X1 Turbo. Now you're only seeing the actual robot vacuum on my desk here, but this one also has a docking station where it goes and washes its mop pads, but the docking station is a bit too big for my desk, so I'm not gonna have the docking station next to me for this particular video. The X1 Turbo is also part of the X1 family, as the manufacturer calls it. So there is the X1 Plus, which is kind of like the lower end model. Then we have the X1 Turbo, so the one that I have and the one that I've been using over the past month. And then we have the top of the line, which is called the X1 Omni. But in today's video, I'm only gonna cover the X1 Turbo. Alright, so we are gonna start with a bit of an unboxing. So the X1 Turbo comes in a fairly big box, and inside that box you're gonna find the user manual and everything you need so you can start vacuuming and mopping right away. Now that box is that big because inside it we are also gonna find a docking station for the vacuum. So the same docking station that I showed you a couple of minutes ago. So inside that docking station we have two water tanks. One water tank is for clean water, so you're gonna fill that one up with clean water, and one water tank is with dirty water. So all the dirty water gets collected in that tank, and you can actually see how dirty that water is after the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle. So why do we need that big docking station? Well, the vacuum has these two mop pads at the bottom. You can put these on or you can take them off if you just want the vacuum to go vacuuming. But if you want the vacuum to also wash your floors, you're gonna put these on. You can also remove the mop pads from these and you can wash them, and you're also gonna get two additional mopping pads in the box. And you can actually find those in that docking station as well, next to a brush that will help you wash the vacuum, clean the vacuum, and so on. So what happens? The vacuum will start by washing these when you first start a cleaning cycle. So these are gonna be nice and wet and also clean. The vacuum also has a little water tank inside that gets filled up from that clean water tank that you have inside the docking station, so it will keep these wet whenever the vacuum goes around mopping your house. Throughout the cleaning cycle, the vacuum will also go back to the docking station and will wash the mop pads. And you can actually select from the app, so there is an app that works with this vacuum, you can select how often the vacuum should go back to the docking station and wash these in a cleaning cycle, of course. From the app you can also select how wet the mop pads should be, so it depends what kind of floors you have throughout your house. For example, if you have tiles like me, you can probably have it at the maximum wetness level, but if you have hardwood floors, maybe you don't want the mop pads to be that wet. And you can also select the suction power for the vacuum. Going back to the docking station for a bit, at the top there we also have three buttons. So for example, you can start a cleaning cycle by just pushing a button on the docking station, and you can also call the vacuum back to the docking station from the docking station. Whenever the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle, it will wash the mop pads and then it will dry them. That's definitely a good thing because otherwise these would stay wet in the docking station. We don't want that. So the docking station will also wash this. And you do have to remove that dirty water container and empty that after each cleaning cycle, because otherwise that water will smell pretty bad if you leave it there for 2 or 3 days. Now, if you don't want to use the app or the docking station to start a cleaning cycle, just to give you an example, the robot also supports voice commands, and you don't have to install like the Google Assistant or anything like that. The vacuum itself supports voice commands. So you can tell the vacuum to start a cleaning cycle, for example, and I have some of the commands that you can say right on the screen. Okay, Eco.
I'm here.
Start cleaning.
Okay, stop current task and start cleaning.
Okay, Eco.
I'm here.
Vacuum the bedrooms.
Okay, start area cleaning.
Okay, so looking at the vacuum itself, we have the same round shape that we've been seeing with a lot of robot vacuums lately. At the top here, we have the LiDAR navigation system. So this vacuum will map out your entire house. It knows exactly where it's been at all times. It knows exactly where it has to go, and it's not gonna go over the same area twice unless you want it to go over the same area twice. At the top here, we have a removable cover, and if you remove this, you can access the dust bin. Now, if you'd buy the X1 Omni, that one actually empties its dust bin by itself. With this one, you actually have to empty the dust bin yourself. It's super simple to remove the dust bin. We also have the dust filter right there, and you just empty this and then you put it back. We also have the power button there and the reset button for the Wi-Fi. So this vacuum gets connected to your Wi-Fi network through that app that I mentioned earlier. On the front of the vacuum, we also have a bumper that has a rubber strip around it. So if the vacuum wouldn't see something in its way, it would bump into that. And since we have that rubber strip, it's not gonna damage any furniture. Now, on the front here, we also have a camera. So you can use this vacuum as a security camera for your house, for example. And we also have some sensors in there. So unlike most robot vacuums available on the market, this one is not gonna run over small objects on the floor. So you have some socks on the floor, if you have some small toys, this one will see those and will go around them. So I haven't actually seen this vacuum bumping into anything around the house because it does know exactly what's in front of it at all times. So I usually say that you have to clean the floors before you have this going around the house. Well, that's not necessarily the case with this one. So this one will avoid most things that you'd leave on the floor by mistake. Alright, and turning this around, at the bottom here, of course, we have the magnetic holders for the mopping pads. As I said earlier, you can remove these quite easily, you just pull them off. We also have the main brush and the main suction hole in the center here. You can also remove that and clean the hair from it. Depending on who you live with, that brush may get some hair on it. We also have two side brushes, so those side brushes basically push all the dirt towards the main suction hole and the main brush, and that gets into the dust bin, of course. And then we have a variety of sensors at the bottom, so if you have stairs at home, the vacuum is not gonna fall down those stairs. It will also sense carpets, so if you have hard floors and then you have some carpets, the vacuum will actually sense wherever there is a carpet, so it's not gonna go over that carpet if it's mopping, for example. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is the most advanced robot vacuum that I got to try up until now. Really good navigation because of the LiDAR system that we have at the top here, and really good obstacle avoidance because of that front camera and those sensors that we have on the front there. So this is definitely the most advanced robot vacuum that I used so far. From the ECOVACS app, you can access the vacuum remotely. So let's say that you're not at home, for example, you can start a cleaning cycle from that app. You can also see the map that the vacuum made. You can send the vacuum to a certain place in your house or a certain room in your house. You can select do not go zones. The vacuum will also make a 3D map of your house, and it will actually map out wherever you have carpets throughout the house in that 3D map. As I mentioned earlier, from the app, you can also see everything that the vacuum sees. If you want to see something in a particular room, you can just send the vacuum to that room and you can check out the footage on the app. You can also set schedules from the app there. So let's say that you start work at 9 a.m. Well, you can have the vacuum start a cleaning cycle at 9:30. This way it vacuums and mops whenever you're not home. Inside it, we also have a 5200 milliamp hour battery, and personally I can get about 2 hours of cleaning time on one charge. But if you have a house that's bigger than mine and the vacuum cannot finish a cleaning cycle on one charge, which is kind of unlikely, it will also go back to its charging station, it will recharge, and then it will continue and finish the cleaning cycle. But in my experience, you should have more than enough power so the vacuum can finish cleaning a house on one charge. Alright, and now the big question, how well does it clean? Well, I can go ahead and say that this is the best vacuum that I got to try up until now. Over carpets, because it has plenty of suction power. Actually, it has more suction power than 95% of the vacuums available on the market. So it only has to go over carpets once and it will pick up everything from the floor. Because these mop brushes constantly spin at the bottom there, and they also get moist constantly from that water tank that we have inside. Not to mention the vacuum goes back to the cleaning station and washes these every so often. The floors are also super clean. I'm talking about hard floors wherever you're gonna be using this, because obviously you're not gonna be using these over carpets. Since we have the obstacle avoidance system as well, it also makes it easier to start the cleaning cycle even if you haven't had the floors ready for the vacuum. With all the other vacuums, well, except for two, because I had two other ones that had obstacle avoidance, but with most other robot vacuums that I tried, and I think this is the first one that has obstacle avoidance for a mopping vacuum, because I had three other ones that were doing mopping, but they had no obstacle avoidance. So since we have this obstacle avoidance system, you don't really have to clean the floors before you leave. You just press a button, the vacuum goes, does its thing, and it will not run over cables, small toys, etc. So having that obstacle avoidance system, it's also a big bonus. So to quickly conclude this video, if you're looking for one of the best or probably the best robot vacuum and mop available on the market, look no further. The ECOVACS DEEBOT X1 Turbo is the one to get. Now, I do want to try the X1 Omni, because that one also empties the dustbin by itself. This one I have to empty the dustbin manually, but with that one I wouldn't have to do that. So I kind of want to try the X1 Omni as well. Again, that one is more expensive than this one, so it really depends how much money you're willing to spend. But the X1 Turbo is an excellent robot vacuum and mop. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.